This week, Kelly spirals out of control.
In today's episode, we're diving into one of the most controversial episodes of Dance Moms. Mom Crazy, Boy Crazy. An episode so notorious that it was actually banned from reruns. Dance Moms has always pushed boundaries, but this episode crossed a line that had fans, critics, and parents alike questioning just how far was Dance Moms willing to go. So what made this one so infamous, and why was it pulled from reruns? Trust me, this one's wild. Now, I actually own this one because I bought all of season 3 like way back in the day, so I still have it on my Apple account. So for today's video, I went back and watched this episode to see what all of the fuss was about, see if I could figure out why it was banned from TV and what happened in this episode. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking that all down, and this was a long one. It was like an hour and 22 minutes, so it was definitely an extended version episode. When I made my first video on a banned Dance Moms episode, I had no idea that there were actually multiple Dance Moms episodes that were banned from streaming. In the last banned Dance Moms episode video, we talked about the fan dance that was banned, where they basically had the girls emulating Vegas burlesque fan dancer girls, and that one was banned from TV for obvious reasons. But if you missed that video, it was Dance Moms Season 2 Episode 9, and I will leave that video in the pinned comment. But there were indeed multiple episodes of Dance Moms that were banned, and today we're going to figure out why this one was. So in this episode, they're heading into Pyramid for the first day of a new season of dance. The dancers have just returned from a month-long break after competing in New York City, the Big Bad Apple. Asia has left the team due to a job opportunity this week in Los Angeles, and Abby tells Mackenzie at Pyramid that every time Asia competed, she won, and she can't say the same for Mackenzie. Abby craps on Nia as usual, and Maddie is on the top of the pyramid, as usual. Chloe and Maddie get a duet called We're All Right, and Paige actually gets a solo for once. It's that get up, get loud, get tough solo. Then, something that is more important, this is going to be a key factor in this episode getting banned, is that Brooke gets pushed up to work with the senior group at the ALDC.
Brooke is going to be competing with the Abby Lee Senior Dance Company
to work on a group dance called Why Not Me. So why might this episode have been banned? Was it because we can't possibly have an episode in syndication where Paige gets a solo, right? Well, that's not quite the reason why the episode was banned, but we all know Abby absolutely hated Kelly and her kids. After Pyramid, we find ourselves over at Kathy's and hear that one of the Candy Apples dancers has been saying that they want to join the ALDC dancers, and Kathy says Gino probably has a crush on Maddie. But none of this is the reason why this episode was banned from the air. Later in the episode, Abby decides to set up Brooke on a date with Kevin from the senior team, who will be partnering with them in their group dance this week. They go on a filmed date to a pastry shop and get into a food fight after Kevin shoves cake in Brooke's face. But little did any of us know while watching this innocent food fight on a quote-unquote date that Kevin would later be the reason why this episode actually got banned from the air.
Are you surprised that your mom let us come alone?
No, not really.
In early 2021, this episode was removed from Lifetime's website and other streaming services amid accusations surrounding Kevin Casaluela. If you aren't familiar with Kevin, he's the older brother of Gino, and I talked about him in my video titled The Crimes the Cast of Dance Moms Don't Want You to Know About. I'll leave that in the pinned comment as well if you haven't seen it and you want to watch that one. But Kevin Casaluela was a dance instructor at a different studio, but he appeared on Dance Moms in this episode to go on the date with Brooke and to compete in their senior group dance, and he became the center of a controversy in January 2021 following his arrest in Orange County, Florida. He faced multiple charges related to alleged misconduct, which we covered at more length in one of my other videos, but it included solicitation and other criminal actions involving minors. These allegations centered around interactions with two young students in particular at a local dance studio, and following his arrest, Kevin was terminated from his position at the studio and denied the charges brought against him. As the case progressed, Kevin Casaluela's legal team proposed a plea agreement in 2023, which was still under negotiation. The legal proceedings and public scrutiny surrounding the case led to increased pressure on the Dance Moms franchise and its network Lifetime, so that's why they pulled the episode inevitably. The incident became part of a broader conversation regarding the safety and treatment of minors in reality TV and entertainment, particularly with respect to Dance Moms, for obvious reasons. And given the nature of the charges and the show's connection to Kevin, the episode Mom Crazy, Boy Crazy was ultimately pulled from reruns. This decision was made in part to distance the network from the controversy, but also to maintain the integrity of the Dance Moms brand. So basically, Lifetime probably didn't think it was a super cute look to have evidence of themselves filming Kevin dancing shirtless, doing intimate lifting with Brooke, and working super close side by side with all of these super young girls over at ALDC, meanwhile being accused and going into a plea agreement for other actions that he was participating in with other little girls from another studio. So aside from that, and for those obvious reasons why the episode was banned, we see Kelly and Christy basically fighting throughout this entire episode as their friendship is dissolving.
You're full of Kelly, and you know it.
Not stupid.
You know, you said yourself that you don't even think of me as a friend anymore, that I'm a horrible friend.
That.
Well, maybe you should get
You're taking it out on all of us.
Remember, I'm a bad friend.
You know what?
When I sat
You
here
are.
the entire week, you were gone and stuck up for you.
Because I kiss everyone's ass to get
do.
my kid.
You do.
You, Kelly.
We see Abby and Anthony scrapping it out at the dance competition. We see Paige slaying her solo Get Up, Get Loud, Get Tough with Anthony in the audience after previously ripping her apart the last week at competition and her having to go stand up for herself.
Backstage, I see Kathy and that man in the audience, so I just have to block him out and stay focused on my solo.
And then Kathy's Candy Apples all boys team goes on to do that group dance with the bicycle tire wheels to a knockoff Marilyn Manson song, The Muscular People. And then the ALDC Junior Elite team goes on to perform a very forgettable jazz number called Bad Girls. Paige actually ended up getting second with her solo, and Nick wins with his solo. If you remember Nick, he was the Candy Apples dancer that was built like Gumby, super, super flexible. Chloe and Maddie's duet, We're All Right, gets first. The Junior Elite's super forgettable jazz number actually gets first, and the Senior ALDC group dance also gets first, starring Brooke Hyland and the Child Pred. It's a shame that this guy ended up to be such a creep, because this was actually a really beautiful group dance, the senior one with Kevin and Brooke.
Lost my last round. Me and I, so much alive. Crossed line.
The episode basically ends with Kelly being super dramatic that her friendship with Christy is dissolving, and then Gino and Kevin's dad comes over and talks to the ALDC and asks Abby if he could come be with them, and says that Gino would love to work with Abby, and then Kathy gets wind of this and kicks him out of their group. So basically setting him up to go be free to go work with Abby. So really you're not missing much. It is sad that they had to ban one of the episodes, which was one of the very few episodes where Paige actually got a solo, and not only did she get a solo, but she did a really good job. And not only did she do a really good job, but Abby actually tells her that she did a really good job and that she's proud of her, which we know at the ALDC never happens. So I also have a sneaking suspicion that that's the real reason why the episode got banned. But all jokes aside, I definitely understand why they decided to ban this episode and why Lifetime would want to dissociate themselves from Kevin Casaluela. What I don't get though is why do they always pretend that Gino and Kevin are just not from the same family? And why is Kevin dancing at the ALDC on Abby's senior team and Gino is dancing on the Candy Apples team? Makes no sense to me.